Oh boy, I cannot say how excited I was to see this one. I saw a notification that it had shipped, and yes, this is Sheek, and I'm here with another Transformers review, and today I'll at least be reviewing the box set. Might not do all the figures in one video, probably do individual videos for them, but it is a 15th year anniversary of Transformers, the 2007 Michael Bay movie. I'm not the biggest fan of the Michael Bay movies, but the character designs are pretty cool. And here we have Ironhide, Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Ratchet, and Jazz. So here we have all 5 of them out of the box and on the display base, which, as you can see, could have been a little better done. It does have 2 backdrops. The one might be a little hard to tell, but it is the Witwicky house. As you can see, there's the windows, there's a roof. If I move Ratchet, you'll see the fountain that Ironhide ended up inadvertently crushing, and there I go, knocking over Jazz. I'm not overly enthused about most of them, or at least about 2 of them. Okay, so maybe less than most of them. Bumblebee and Ratchet, in my opinion, look the worst out of the bunch. Ratchet, his articulation leaves a lot to be lacking, especially like on his hands. I haven't seen him in their alt modes yet. Optimus, he does feel pretty solid, but he does feel like he's lacking a bit of color. But we'll see in his alt mode, maybe in a more in-depth review. Bumblebee, he looks kind of washed out, and also we've seen a lot of Bumblebees, and I feel like some of them have been better than the Studio Series one, in my opinion. The gun is very light gray. So far, I feel like overall the best of the bunch, though, would be Optimus and Ironhide, but if I had to pick one that actually looks the best, it's either a toss-up between Jazz and Ironhide, but as far as who feels best overall, I would have to go with Ironhide, because he does feel a little bit more like he holds together a little bit better than Jazz, but his colors are amazing. Granted, I also like the color black, it's pretty cool. Although one major gripe with this Ironhide, I haven't gone down transformation or anything like that, so I don't know if he has any quirks with that, but if you look at his face, it's very nicely well done, but you'll notice one eye is painted with metallic blue, the other side is not. Either they missed it, or somehow they managed to get silver up over his blue eye. So now he looks like he's missing an eye, like maybe he's a pirate Ironhide or something or other. I be Ironhide, me mateys. Or I don't know, something like that. Rather than his, standard Ironhide voice. Articulation wise, from what I can gather, these aren't the best. I mean, they try to go for movie accuracy as well as some other things, so I feel like articulation is sacrificed a little bit. He does have shoulder rotation, he can do a full 360. I think I might have messed up his shoulder just ever so slightly, but not messed up, but moved out of position. Biceps, about 90-degree bend there. There is not a bicep swivel, but the closest thing is just shoulder pivot, I guess. There is elbow. Is there elbow? Yes, there is elbow rotation. So there is bicep swivel, kinda, sorta. About 90-degree bend there. Wrists are on a swivel, which is nice. He does not have any waist swivel, probably mainly due to transformation and structural integrity, although it is a little bit annoying. He can do pretty close to the he actually can do the full splits. That's actually pretty cool. And although there's no ratchets or anything, he does feel really stiff. Legs can go back that far, forward that far. There is thigh rotation, about 90-degree bend at the knee, and there is a little bit of that, but that clicks in place, and I feel like that's more for transformation into truck mode. His accessories, as you can see, are his 2 big old cannons, which look pretty cool, but I feel like it would have been really nice if they could have done like an orange glow like from the movie, because that looked really, really cool. Yeah, that's about him without getting into transformation. Bumblebee, like I said, he feels kind of washed out, and a lot of the Studio Series Deluxes tend to feel kind of flimsy, in my opinion, just because they're a lot smaller, and due to some of the design choices, it just feels kind of flimsy. I wouldn't say necessarily like brittle, like it's going to, not like cheap KO knockoff plastics, but still not extremely sturdy. Although, I will admit, the tires are not the snap-on kind, at least up there, or even down here, they actually went in with the metal pins, so that's actually a plus. So, okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh on Bumblebee, but there is no wrist rotation. And like I said, his weapon is just gray, no metallic to it. I feel like they should have painted it sort of like that color, so it would match a little bit better with his arm, or at least made it the same color plastic rather than an off color from his arms. You can see the front of the car right there, and then the real front of the car up here on the back. And yeah, but I think Bumblebee or Ratchet's probably gonna be my least favorite of the set. Moving on to Optimus, he has his swords are kind of cool. I don't know if it's exactly the same way that they clipped on, or went on in the Series 32 that my brother had, but they just slide on like that over his hands. He does have wrist rotation. His face does have silver paint on it. Doesn't look like his eyes are really painted, or just more of a lack of silver paint on him, so it does kind of look like he has eyes. The head is on a stiff ball joint. Can look up that far, down about that far. Isn't a whole lot of wiggly waggly. Can do a full 360. Arms can go out for that far, rotate that much, or full 360. Bicep swivel, about a little over 90-degree bend at the elbow. Can go back a little bit, and there is a waist swivel. First one, or no, probably second one. I didn't confirm with Bumblebee real quick, but waist swivel, likes to go forward that far, back not too far, because then the wheels and his backpack get in the way a little bit. Thigh rotation, over 90-degree bend at the knee. Ankle or feet can move down that far, forward a little bit, and there is a little bit of ankle tiltage. That's about it for articulation for Optimus, and since I skipped on Bumblebee, let's just go ahead and look at his articulation. Okay, so the head is also on a ball joint, can look up that far, down about that far, so you can look down relatively decent. Well, his head has a little bit of wiggly waggly. It can do a full 360 with a little bit of doing. His arms go out that far, up that far, bicep, about a little over 90-degree bend, and you can get a sort of bicep swivel on the ball joint. Like I said, nothing at the hands or wrist. He does have a waist swivel. Legs can go forward that far, back that far. He does have thigh swivel. Knees bend about 90 degrees. He doesn't, okay, he does have, well, that's probably for transformation actually, but I guess you could give him sort of ankle tiltage by breaking his leg from the looks of it. Not actually breaking his leg. And then foot, but that's also looks like it's for transformation. That's it for him. And moving on to Ratchet. He does come with a buzzsaw blade, which sticks relatively well on his arm. You can also have him holding his hand, but it's very loose, at least in this hand. Let's try the other hand. Okay, it's better held in this hand. So I guess he can operate on Decepticons, and by operate I mean demolish. He doesn't come with any guns or anything. I mean, I guess Optimus doesn't come with any guns because he has built-in energon swords anyway. His face doesn't look too bad. It's silver for the face, green for the shell of his, or the armoring on his face, and then blue eyes. Some detail on the bumper. This is also part of the lower part of the bumper. Red and green. Not a huge fan of the green color. Shoulder rotation is pretty far inward. And let's go ahead and get onto its articulation. Head is not on a ball joint. It is on a swivel. So that's loses points for that. The shoulders can do a full 360. They can go out about that far, not very much. He does have bicep swivel, about 90-degree bend at the elbow. You can also go backward. No wrist rotation at all. It's just one solid piece. I think with Studio Series being like, oh, it's so much better, you think they would have included that, or at least updated the mold, possibly thing, and that probably would have been really expensive. Anyway, there's no hip rotation on him as well. He can do the full splits, except this. This is my biggest gripe, more than anything else, is that this kibble, like, it's pretty bad. Like, there's nothing you can do with it, at least on one of the 2007 toys. I mean, I don't know how accurate it looked to the character, but that is actually like a weapon. It's like a claw thing, and it could also come off, and it could be like a stretcher for injured Autobots, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's just stuck on here, and from what I can tell, there's no way to take it off without breaking it. Legs go forward that far. Not really back at all, because, like I said, kibble. About 90-degree bend, just a little over 90-degree bend at the knee, which also looks like it's a little bit for transformation because it forms the back of the ambulance. Feet can bend down that far, and there is a little bit of ankle tiltage due to the ball joint. That's about it for a Ratchet. Let's go ahead and set him off over there. And here we have Jazz, last but not least. His face, does look kind of cool. He does have the visor, and you can actually kind of sort of see his mouth. It might be a little hard on the camera, but it doesn't look too bad in my opinion. There's the grill. Looks like it collapsed up a little bit, but I do believe this is supposed to be rotated around like this for his robot mode, and I guess his head collapsed a little bit. Yeah, because that's supposed to be pointing up there, so that's something that they had mistransformed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he can't do the splitting in half. They actually have him fairly well built, so that doesn't happen. Anyway, looks like the tires on most of these have the pins. I don't know if that was a change from the original design or not. If it was a change from the original design, thank you, Hasbro. You actually did something right for once. Or maybe not, because let's see, on Ratchet his are those pegs. So yeah, I feel like maybe some of the older, I don't know, some of the designs are maybe done a little bit better. Anyway, but yeah, he has the pins on at least his upper tires. Not sure about his lower tires. Oh, and there's also ankle heel spurs. Okay, so he has, like I said, a ball joint on his head, can do a full 360, can look up about that far, down about that far, and he does have just a little bit of wiggly waggly. You can do a full 360 on the arms. They can go out about that far. Way over 90-degree bend at the elbow. That's pretty good. Bicep rotation, sort of, due to the ball joint on the shoulder. And his hands are on sort of like a pivot, a hinge, and it can flip around so that you can attach the his shield weapon, which just flips on. And then this hand can't really hold anything. It's just that forehand claw thing. This hand can hold stuff if you want to. If you want to, you can flip this, around, and I think he has a little peg. Has a little peg where it can be held like a standard gun, which is kind of silly. Why would you want to do that? But that's something you can do if you want to do it. And okay, moving on with the articulation. He also has no waist rotation. I think that's also for transformation, or to aid in, I guess, stability. He can do the full splits. Legs can go forward that far, back that far, thigh rotation. A little less than 90-degree bend at the knee. And he does have ankle tiltage, although it kind of does mess up with his shin. But I'm not going to hold that much against him because he actually does look really cool in his robot mode, in my opinion. And as far as like the closest you can get him to looking like he's been ripped in half is kind of like this. And then if you maybe had something in between it, but he kind of looks like he's going in half. But yeah, you can't really completely reenact that part of the movie with Megatron. Speaking of Megatron and the Decepticons, I really, really hope that they decide to do a similar box set for them. Obviously, there were more Decepticons in the movie than there were Autobots, as I'm pretty sure this is the whole lineup for the Autobots in the 2007 movie. But hopefully they have like Megatron, Starscream, Brawl, Barricade. I feel like those guys would at least be included. Maybe Bone Crusher. But then there's also Blackout, Scorponok. I think it might have been another one. I'm not sure. But definitely more than 5. So they'd either have to do a bigger box set, or they would just have to pick 5 that they think would go well with this. I feel like Starscream with Ironhide, Barricade with Bumblebee, either Megatron and or Bone Crusher for Optimus. Ratchet, I'm not really sure, and Jazz also could be Megatron. So yeah, so that's about it for this box set. And for the other side of the display is the place where they first meet Sam Witwicky. Yeah, I didn't show off the back of the box, probably should have. But as you can see, there's the house, but there's the street that they met him in. Unfortunately, it appears that it would be very difficult to flip this thing around without damaging the display. So I feel like I'm either going to have to leave it as a house or change it and never change it back, because I really don't want to risk destroying the backdrop trying to swap them out. So I feel like they should have either A, included 2 of them in one box, or maybe put like another base that you could set in front of the other side. We got that flipped around, and we can set this up in here, get this flap folded down. It's not going to necessarily connect with it. You can do it like this. That's not how it shows it on the box, but either A, this is how they wanted you to do it, and they were just lazy on the box design, like, hey, let's just swap out the image on the backdrop, and that's all we'll do. Because I'll show you the reason why I feel like it would pretty much destroy it if you tried doing, is that you'd have to flip these flaps in and then pull it through this hole and then flip it around and push it back in, all without ripping these flaps off. I feel like that would be a little risky, all just to change the backdrop. So I feel like the best bet, if you want to use this one or be able to use both of them, is just do something along these lines. Awesome scene, otherwise untainted by the fact that there are no humans that they are actually looking at. Right here should be Sam and Michaela looking up in awe at the Autobots as they reveal themselves, other than Bumblebee, who revealed himself earlier in the movie. Anyway, yes, that is a missed opportunity. They should have included, I think, 2 little minifigures of Sam and Michaela if they wanted you to actually be able to recreate this scene. Anyway, maybe if you have the Human Alliance, that might be a little too big, but hey, you got a couple humans there. Unfortunately, I do not, at the moment, have anything that really feels like it'd be a good stand-in for a couple of humans. But this looks pretty cool, and if you like this review of this box set and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more, and keep an eye out or an ear out for any future videos involving these figures. As I did not do a full complete review of each individual figure, I'll probably at some point release a video for each one. So until next time, have a good one, everyone.